Welcome to SAM Conversation, a program of South Asia Monitor. Our topic is the critical shortage of combat aircraft in the Indian Air Force. For this, it is our pleasure to welcome Air Marshal Sumit Mukerji, former Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Southern Command, Southern Air Command, recipient of Shaurya Chakra, a very experienced fighter pilot, as very few can say that he's seen the heights from where it may be daylight here, but you can see stars and moon across. Also been an air attaché at Washington, D.C. Welcome to SAM Conversation, South Asia Monitor.
Thank you. Thank you, Anil, and thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
With the current holding of aircraft, combat aircraft in the Indian Air Force being about 530, which amounts to about 31 squadrons, it is appears to be a woefully, short force, considering that the aim is at least 42 squadrons. And there is a thought that if Bangladesh is also going to be added to our list of adversaries, we may need 50 squadrons. The Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh is not pulled any punches recently in stating that something has to be done very, very urgently. I invite you to please throw light on this subject.
Well, Anil, it's like this. The Air Chief has been absolutely correct in what he said. While it may not have been at a public forum, he did express his views to the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And what he expressed was, it was a sad commentary, I would say, on the state of affairs in the Air Force as far as the aircraft are concerned. Now, he is naturally quite a worried man as the Air Chief, but it's a question of national security. I think the nation has to be worried. The government has to be worried. It's just not the Air Force that is the Air Force is just part of the system. We are part of the population. We are part of the military. We are part of the government.
Absolutely.
And I think we deserve to be recognized in that. The nation needs to understand that somebody is not doing the job and providing what we need to provide for reasons of national security.
It's a sort of an irony because I have had the opportunity of meeting a number of foreign arms dealers in number of the DEF expos or Aero India that I've attended in Delhi in earlier years. And I've had the opportunity of telling at least the Russian ones that you owe a great commendation to the Indian Air Force aviators who have flown your aircraft far beyond the parameters of the vintage that you set for them, and also the terrain and temperature conditions. They agreed. In every opportunity they agreed. But it's otherwise very sad that what is, I think there is no doubt about being the best Air Force in the world, should not be short of critically short of squadrons. We were not used. The government didn't have it in their mind to use the Air Force in 1962 when the Chinese attacked. Otherwise, history would have been different. But in 65 and 71, and then much later in Kargil, the Air Force is, I mean, Pakistan knows exactly what you guys mean. One of the, one of the suggestions which the Air Force chief expressed was that we must involve in industry. And I think today Indian industry has it in them to come out with the kind of technology we're looking for. Am I right?
Yes. You see, the Prime Minister has made a huge thrust towards Atmanirbharta. And I think that's a very well planned program in the sense that he wants to see the growth of the Indian defense industry. It is something that we sorely require. We've always required it. And we've always had some sort of a defense industry going for us. But the question is, how much can they produce? What is the quality? And is it timely and available to the military? If you're looking for national security, remember that we have these huge, long borders, 5,500 kilometers against the Chinese. We have 7,000 kilometers of coastline. And then we have the Western Front of about 3,500 odd kilometers. So, it's huge. Now, it's a question of covering the area. You need the numbers. You can say that I have, multi-role players and multi-role platforms which can do the job of, 2-3 of the earlier generation aircraft. That's fine. But you need to cover the distance. You need to cover the mileage and the border, which is so long. So at the end of it all, you need the numbers. While we can't have sophisticated aeroplanes all across the full spectrum of the numbers that we require in the squadrons, we do need a certain sort of a number differences. That is the fourth generation, the 4.5, the fifth generation aircraft, which are now very much available in the market. So if we are going to compete and we are going to be able to defend our borders and provide the security that the nation needs, we have to be up to date. And that is what is lacking at the moment in this country.
In fact, you're reflecting what the chief also said. He also mentioned that it is of great concern that China has acquired a sixth generation, which is, the J-20, J-35, which are getting ready for trials. We've never thought much of, from whatever we've heard of Chinese aviators. Well, we shouldn't comment on that, but the fact remains that technologically speaking, they're ahead, and we cannot afford to lose the kind of edge that the Indian Air Force has.
No, that's absolutely true. You need to be, you can't have an asymmetric, technological asymmetry of such a large nature that you become vulnerable to the adversary. So the fact of the matter is that, notwithstanding the fact, as I said, that we can't have fifth generation across the full spectrum of the squadrons of fighters that we have, but you do need that amount to cover the adversary at the points of necessity. So the need to be technologically equal with the adversary is very, very important in any sorts of warfare, whether it be the Army, the Navy, or the Air Force. And here we are not only a generation behind, we may shortly fall 2 generations behind, given that they have actually flown and displayed the 6th generation aircraft at their last air show.
Yes. And one also felt sad that all this is coming at it's sort of blowing up. This kind of information is blowing up at a time when the Aero India and every Aero India that has been held in India, it's it's been larger than larger than the previous. And there's a one knows that there is a tremendous desire by many countries to be part of it. And this is also a time when a lot of countries come looking for aircraft to buy from us, or for air forces to interact with our air force.
Yes, you see the credibility of a defense organization is essentially on the quantum that you can manufacture and deliver, as well as what you can export. Now, you see, if you ask some of the people to say that the export is as adequate from HAL or from any of the other defense companies, they will say, our export numbers have gone up from 36,000 crores to 48,000 crores. Of course, it's gone up, but has it been critical items? Has it been the niche technology? No. So what we need to do, your credibility to be able to produce and be a visible player in the international market, is your export capability and the acceptance by the international players or the countries to say that, yes, here's a good item, defense item that I can buy and be proud to possess.
The Tejas, when it was, the first model in the earlier stage, it was not getting accepted. There was there was a lot of criticism about it from experienced aviators of Indian Air Force, even including.
Frankly speaking, the Tejas is a great aeroplane.
No, it is a great aeroplane, but after a lot of working on it, am I right?
In its class, it's really top of the line. But the problem with the Tejas is that at the time when it was conceived, the Tejas was at a generation that's in the 80s, early 80s. It was building an aircraft, or had planned to build an aircraft, which was like the F-16 or the Mirage 2000, which was just coming into the market with us. So the idea was to get more numbers of these as a replacement for the MiG-21. So when you have large numbers of that high fourth generation going on to 4.5, and you have large numbers which they promised that they would be able to give, I thought we would have had a really good Air Force at that time, provided the delivery was on schedule. Now, the delivery hasn't been on schedule, and when the delivery is not on schedule, what happens? Technology is moving too fast for this sort of a thing.
Delayed means denied,
Absolutely. So technology delayed is technology denied.
Denied, yeah.
And you have fallen back in the race. And today you are trying to catch up and manufacture an aeroplane, 4.5 gen aircraft, when we moved on to the 5th generation. And the 4.0 gen still really hasn't really shown its face. So, no, we have to be, very, very practical and very real about this. And that is the concern. It's a matter of concern. It's a matter of concern for the government and for the people of this country to understand that national security is at stake.
Now, after all this, the Defense Ministry has announced a committee which has been instituted, headed by the Defense Secretary. We hope, and it includes also the chairman of the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO. They better do something at good speed, because we are living in days where we've got adversaries who are the main adversary being China, which is modernizing and stacking up weaponry at a very fast pace. And,
I hope this committee takes into the the factor of accountability, and to really make people accountable for what they're supposed to do and what they're supposed to deliver. As military men, we have been extremely accountable all our lives.
absolutely.
We understand it only too well. Unfortunately, we don't see the same accountability in the industry that is supposed to support us. And that is where, you feel hurt and you feel sad to see people when they can't produce what they promised and nothing has been held to account. So something has to be done. It has to be hire and fire sort of it should be like the private sector. It shouldn't function the way the public sector is functioning, and the fact that they get away with without delivering the items in time.
From the accountability point of view, there isn't any. It's a pity, because I cannot but help recalling General Shankar Roy Chaudhary, while he was serving, he was frank enough to say that, look, we should be given whatever we need when we need it. Because then if there is a war, you shouldn't start blaming the army for, not being able to. He says we are one of the finest armies in the world, but any army needs, similarly, army, whether it's army, navy or air force, you need your fighting equipment.
Absolutely. I think our chiefs should stop saying that we will fight with what we have.
Absolutely.
It's fine to say it. As military men, we will do it. We will follow the orders. But is that the right thing? Is it the right thing for the morale of the troops?
Absolutely.
Is it the right thing for the population? Where is the safety factor? It doesn't exist.
I think you were one of those fighter pilots who was flown. How many, if I may ask, how many different aircraft have you flown?
Oh, I've flown a fair amount. In fact, I have commanded the MiG-21, the MiG-23U, MiG-25, MiG-27, MiG-29. I've flown the full range and I've commanded these units. Yes.
There you are.
So.
And out of them, only one of them is now still in service?
The MiG-29.
Yes.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you very much for. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you. Any other question, I'll be glad to answer.
No, I think we've covered most of. Then we all we can say is that we hope that these shortages are made good, in very quick time. Whatever be required to be done should be done, and I think Indian industry has. I think they having seen the way the last aircraft carrier was turned out. I think that's some consolation that they've reached, up to a standard where they can give us what we need. Anyway, thank you very much. More some other time. All the best.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you very much.